Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. So I'm here for a flip through of my latest journal. This is Fisherman's Luck, and this is a book I think from 1927. I'll confirm when we get inside of it, but I ended up changing the theme on this journal a little bit. I was sort of going one direction, and then I was inspired by a friend. So it's essentially like kind of a gentle story of like the magic of the fisherman's life, maybe told by the daughter of a fisherman. It's just kind of, it's not specific. I think you can kind of read into it and build what you would, but there's a loose kind of story there, like I like to do with most of my books. So we have this sea urchin. This is an antique image, and I've used the Fisherman's Luck from like the second title page inside the original book here, and just kind of made them nice and ochre to go with this beautiful blue, and embossed them so they're clear embossed, so you can probably see they're like shiny. So this is the book that I chose for this book, like not the book I chose for the book, but the journal I chose to make a book out of. And I got it because I just love the embossing and the colors of the cover. The spine is nice. I left it natural. I left this old withered label on it, and I really liked this. I considered covering this up, but then I didn't because I kept a fishing theme. And then I've created, as you can probably see, like a carrying handle from jute. This is soft jute. It's not like that rough stuff that hurts your hands. And it is tied at both ends, and there's a little, you know, kind of dauble here that just kind of hangs. So if you wanted to carry it like that, you know, I kind of felt like it reminded me of like how a lot of, you know, fishermen might go out and they're tying all their stuff together, like their bait box and this and that. So it just kind of brought that idea to mind. But I also wanted it to have a little bit of a feminine touch too, or not necessarily feminine, but like something that talked about like the rest of the story, the magic, the feminine presence in the story. So this lovely ochre colored lace is what I used in the metal eyelets to close it. So let's open this book up. It's a little chonky, but I'm happy with it. I think the chonky is good. So I did this binding a little bit differently than I normally do. I wanted to retain these fun front pages. So that's what I did. So here is this backing paper original to the book, right? The end papers. And then this is a very old image it's a real photograph that came from an old photo album of these two gentlemen and their ladies here. The ladies all in this boat. And then this here is a vintage Irish lottery, like hospital sweepstakes ticket. And I thought it brought together the whole Fisherman's Luck thing. So this is my business card with the Made in Canada that I include in all of my books, especially now with the whole tariff nightmare. So this is a tag that says Fisherman's Luck, also from the book. And then this little picture of this guy in his bathing costume standing, you know, outside of probably a campsite with his lovely old car. Isn't that fun? Okay, so then we have this Gaskell Library and Bookshop Limited, and the original book, it was property of Herbert Teradash, and so I wanted to keep that there, and I backed it with some nice heavier paper, so like you can journal on it, journal on the back, and then you also still have that lovely page back there to enjoy. Okay, so then we have, so this is actually what the signatures are sewn into, this fabric here, and this comes from a little shirt from my son that he grew out of, so I washed it up, and then I cut it apart to make, you know, journal material from. So inside there we have this journal card, and I thought this was a nice kind of, you know, scene to set things where like you go out early in the morning and the sun is shining, and it's just, you can almost smell the air in that card, right? So this is a vintage postcard from Moores Falls near Kentville, Nova Scotia, with this waterfall, and you flip it out and you see here that the stamp has worn off or been steamed off, and it was sent to Miss Florence B. Morse of Middleton, Annapolis Cove, Nova Scotia, I think. And it was sent in 1908. And it says, "Dear Miss Morse, I am well and having a good time. Hoping you are well and having a good time. Goodbye, Gladys Landry." And I just love like the pure, you know, pointlessness of such a message, but it was just a, you know, a nicety, and that's awesome. So this is a belly band that I made from like a plastic, essentially, plastic packaging. It is stitched around, and it's really crinkly. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's got these little sparkly bits inside, a little fish and a little shell, and this says Story of the Stars. And then we have this little card for writing. So these are throughout the book. This was another of the, you know, kind of magic theme, you know, the tarot kind of, or celestial cards. They're throughout the book. And then we have this little image of ducks here. Some hand-dyed dot matrix paper. These digitals, the Fisherman's Cottage, and the ones that are like the magic Story of the Stars, they're all from the Graphics Fairy. This is another, a Zen proverb: we cannot see our reflection in running water. It is only in the still water that we can see. This is a lovely illustration, kind of telling the story, right, of the fisherman and his daughter. And then this is a coffee-stained index card that was given to me by Mary Ellen of Red Parrot, and a little stitched-on tab, yellow cardstock. This is a travel log book, Places Visited. I thought that fit the theme nicely. This pocket is on vintage wrapping paper. It says, "The lake still sleeps, still dreams its dream under its bright, cold counterpane. Ellen Palmer Allerton." And this little journal card here. And then another of those cards, but it's been put in as a signature. Some blue paper. The tabs in this book are made from fish that are backed in the same fabric as the binding, and they are stitched on. So this says eclipse of the moon, eclipse of the sun, eclipses. It's really like a lovely center page. Some writing space, and another of those lovely cards. This says North Points, and it's all of these different like weather vanes. And then this is a tag made with this fun surreal fish, and this is called the Root Woman. It's an actual sculpture that I cut from an art magazine. It's just really lovely, and I thought she went nicely with the theme. And then this is jelly printed on the back of this tag. More of the Places Visited in yellow cardstock. Little ocean themed tuck spot there with this oyster up here, and this is also a jelly print with gilding in it on a book page, and I just thought that looked really nice. That was good colors and just a simple but really fun theme. Another of those fishing pages, and the blue paper, the speckly paper, and then this sky garden image, and those go together. And then inside we have the double-sided journal card of this image that just tucks right into this pocket. And this pocket itself is actually also a tuck spot for this fun journaling card that's made from beautiful marbled paper from the papertrail.ca. And it's on some really nice 49 and Market paper. Some scrapbook paper, and another of the fish tabs. And then here's the Fisherman's Luck original page. And it's, yeah, 1927, New York, Charles Scribner Sons. And then the original copyright of the story was 1899, printed again in 1905. And this is the 1927 copy, printed in the USA. And then a fish field guide page, more of that lovely magic paper. This is a tuck spot with this beautiful image. It says, "Into a gradual calm, the breezes sink, a blue rim borders all the lakes still brink." And we have, this is like an iridescent little punch out that I made, and it reminds me of like fishing lures, you know, the flashy ones. And inside the tuck spot is a journal card of a poem from an old reader called The Dandelion. "Oh, dandelion, yellow as gold, what do you do all day? I just wait here in the tall green grass till the children come to play. Oh, dandelion, yellow as gold, what do you do all night? I wait and wait till the cool dew falls and my hair grows long and white. And what do you do when your hair is white and the children come to play? They take me up in their dimpled hands and blow my hair away." And I just love that, telling the life story of the dandelion. And then this is a page from the original book. I loved the wild strawberry title of the chapter, and I added some mushrooms down there. Fisherman's Luck, another of those cards. And this is postage stamps from other lands, from an old postage stamp book, and it has a Mauritius fish stamp there. This page is a picture of your country. And then this is an invoice, a scan of an invoice with a fish on it there. And some more fish here. And then this is a black and white photo, a real photo that I made a pocket from. And you can see those long ship style cargo carrier boats. And this, I'm not exactly sure where this is passing by. It almost looks like Ottawa, but I don't think it is. This is a little image of a gravestone with cracks in it. That's an old gravestone, and there's leaves on top. And then just a couple of like fisherman's cottage and a little fish journal card. So just a little collection of, you know, things that maybe you would have seen on your walk to the lake. Some more blue paper and another of the ram's head card. A wild strawberry, and this one has a poem on it. Fisherman's Luck, and then more of that vintage wrapping paper. Then rusty paper clip holding onto this lovely image of this girl here. This is a real photograph, 1954, and she's standing beside a big ship there. More of that nice magical paper and more of the fish. This is the contents page from the book, so it has all of the names of the chapters. Some scrapbook paper and pockets on both sides here. And here we have this journal card. And then here we have this old photograph that I turned into a journal card. I thought this could be the town that they're in. And then more of the 49 and market paper and those lovely magic paper with another fun fish tab there. And then this is this lovely dedication that was from this book originally. And I love this kind of shield or basket shape. So it says, "To my lady grey gown, here is the basket, I bring it home to you. There is no great fish in it, but perhaps there may be one or two little ones which will be to your taste. And there are a few shining pebbles from the bed of the brook, and ferns from the cool green woods, and wild flowers from the places that you remember. I would fain console you, if I could, for the hardship of having married an angler, a man who relapses into his mania with the return of every spring, and never sees a little river without wishing to fish in it. But after all, we have had good times together, as we have followed the stream of life towards the sea, and we have passed through the dark days without losing heart, because we were comrades. So let this book tell you one thing that is certain. In all of the life of your fisherman, the best piece of luck is just you." So isn't that fun? That's like a fisherman's basket in the poem dedication, or not poem, but verse. And more blue paper. This is a Moby Dick kind of story here. I've created this whale. So this is some of that flashy paper. It reminds me of the lures. And this was a cutout that was like two kind of star shapes on this yellow ochre paper. So I added this as a belly band and then made this, you know, he could be the fisherman. Maybe he's inside the Moby Dick's belly for a little bit there. And then the flashy paper again, and one of those lovely cards. And this fish page. And then we have some guys here who, you know, look like they're probably going to be going fishing. And there were some other photos in there like that were kind of beachy, and in the original photo album that came from. Some fun paperback here. And then this is a little tag that I made from an illustration that I did quite some time ago for my Journal Together kit of this lady kind of looking out, you know, over, you know, in the rain, and this could be water, and she could be maybe waiting for her fisherman to come home. And I've added some of the jute up here in a little circular knot. And then we have a rusty clip that I made, added some black fabric to, and it's holding on to this image of these bathing beauties. This is another old photograph. It's got German writing on the back, so I don't know exactly what it says. And then this says eclipses, and then this is also part of what's tied here. We have a bookmark, like a permanent bookmark that you can move wherever you want. I've just placed it here in the center of the center signature. So it's the eclipse of the sun and the moon, and then our two girls here. Just some writing space in that speckly paper, and a snapping turtle because you need a snapping turtle. And then another of those double cards. Another one there. And then this is more of that flashy paper and a rusty paper clip holding on to this beautiful image of a sperm whale, I believe. Humpback whale, I'm sorry. And this is an Alaska postcard. I always get the sperm whale and the humpback whale confused because they're kind of the same, like that big mouth shape. That's the other side of the flashy paper, and you can kind of see that star shape there. And then this is another old like photograph, probably from the 40s, 50s, and it's just an image of water falling down a rock wall. So it's like on its own, it's not a very interesting photo, but like as part of this story, I think it's a nice add-in. And this is a kid looking through a scuba mask, little tuck spot here with a little rocky kind of enclave on the water. And this is about the book itself. It's from the Fisherman's Luck book. This was the Silvanora edition. And then this is another one of those double cards. More of the Sky Garden magic kind of feeling paper. Little sun there, the sky blue dyed paper, a belly band on that vintage wrapping paper, and then this is one of my favorite like master's images. It's just beautiful. I forget the name and artist right now because, you know, there's only so much room in the brain. And then this is a yellow paint sample with yellows and greens. And a fun image that I did quite some time ago for a journal card, but I really liked this looks kind of like a fisherman's village to me. Another pocket on here, it says who owns the mountain, and I put some of this. This is drywall tape, but it's the, you know, the crisscrossy, the mesh one. It reminded me of like a fishing net. And if you can't see that, let me bring it up here for you. And it's just on the page itself. And then we have a little sketchbook image here of someone drawing gulls from 1901 from the book it came from. And then this is just a little, you know, photograph. It says, on our way back from Expo 1973 to 74, 12 to 13 years old, Lawton girls chore. So it's just like a river. So they were coming back from Expo. And then this is another belly band, and this is a booklet that I made this time from that beautiful paper from the paper trail, marbled paper. And we have a sun tab here on this packaging brown paper, and another card, this one with the crab. And then an authentic invoice from 1935 from R.W. Black of Guelph, Ontario, one-stop service. To recharge a battery and rental Graham Coupe. And then another of those cards there. And then this is a tuck spot here. And it has this journal tag inside, or journal card, of like a fishing village. It reminds me very much of Newfoundland. So that just tucks in there. And this image, magical, it wraps around here. And then this to me is just kind of like maybe the fisherman after a long day. We've got this water in the back, and this is just a vintage, a tiny doily, and I felt like this is the kind of thing that maybe they were at like a little local, you know, cafe kind of place having a coffee or a beer. Fisherman, someone who catches fish either as a job or as a sport. So just another little dictionary bit there. And then the smokestacks from the houses, and this is another of the fish tabs on both sides, and more of the paint chips and the vintage wrapping paper, that blue dot matrix paper, Story of the Stars. this pocket stitched on here with some fun, like I kept changing the stitch length and made some fun like netting kind of stuff. And this is on some corrugated cardboard. And in here we have a couple of little fish journal cards from like a steampunk fish collection. I forget what Etsy seller I got these from, but they're lovely. They're super cool. And then another field guide page with fish, another belly band. And this one has, this is from a dream book, and it's like these very magical bears. And I felt like the pointillism elicits quite a magical feeling, and the bears, that could be something you could see fishing, and they are fishermen themselves, those little bears, right? They catching salmon and waterfalls and all that. Another fun sort of sky and sun marbly page, more little magic planetary kind of feel. And then another fish tab on this dot matrix. This is a blue crayon rubbing from a gravestone that I did. This is a pocket with this butterfly, and inside a double-sided journal card. That goes right in the pocket, and then behind the pocket we have another of those double-sided cards. And then over here, this is stapled on. This lady and a couple of children just wading out in this lake. That's some nice yellow cardstock. This is just Chinese lantern and a big like sunflower type flower here, and more sunflower and a little bird. And then this is like a tiny little journal card of this little frog. Little tree frog actually goes that way. Pop them up in there. And then on this side, we have one of my trapped sparkly crinkly cards with a ginkgo leaf inside, and then this fish here. So that goes there. And then this is a ship, you know, out on a tumultuous trip in the ocean. And this is an old map of the Indian Ocean and, you know, parts of Africa. And just a beautiful old, very old map that I backed to make a journal card. And more gravestone rubbing, and more of the blue dyed paper, the magical feeling kind of paper, and then this field guide of fish. And then here we have an upper tuck spot, and then a photo right at the bottom as kind of like a bottom pocket to catch whatever you put in there. So it's kind of like a double, you know, kind of hug that these things get. So these are images. This is actually the back. This is the gap in winter moonlight. That's the back side. This is the front side. And this is a ship out in, you know, on the ocean. And it's during an aurora borealis, like the northern lights. And so a couple of dark, you know, feeling images with dark but writing space on the back. And then this is sort of the tattered other side of this. I did this all on purpose to make kind of a fun feeling end page, because again, I bound this differently just to keep these papers. So mushrooms here, and then this is like a little notepad that you can just play with. You could add more under here if you wanted to. And then a little image of mushrooms, this fish, a twilight definition, the soft glowing light from the sky when the sun is below the horizon, caused by the reflection of the sun's rays from the atmosphere. And then this is like a vintage double photo of a girl sort of sitting by this lovely little like river, and then just an image of the river itself on the other side, and then my little seal and date and you know, the year and all that, and my signature. So that is the end of Fisherman's Luck, and I'm happy with it. I hope you enjoyed, you know, browsing through the story. If you are interested in purchasing this book, it will be online in my Etsy shop. And if you are in the US and you're interested in this book, you can contact me in a private message or through Patreon, because I have a different way of selling to the US. I can't do so in Etsy at the moment due to the US tariff situation, but I do have alternatives that I have been working on. So thank you so much, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye for now.